Okay, that ought to do it. To begin with, anyway. So, let us get down to proverbial business. All right, what do we got? What time is it? Time is it? It is nighttime. So it is dark, but not so dark that it's unseeable. So let's drop everything we're not going to want to bring along with. Basically, just finished up searching through this western area, the Mystery Lake, Forlorn Muskeg, Broken Railroad, Mountain Town, and Hushed River Valley. And I have searched, explored, and let's say looted everything I care to get in those regions. And now I want to make it to the Bleak Inlet and these northern areas, which are locations that are new since I started playing this game again recently. So I've never been to those before, but I know that I want to drop as much stuff as I can. Oops, it's kind of dark. Let's actually wait until morning. I want to drop as much stuff as I can so that I don't have to worry about getting over encumbered and walking extremely slowly. Which I was cursed to suffer through on the way back to this base area. Okay, what have we got here? We need to drink. We need to eat. We need to cook a little bit of this rabbit. But until then, we need to wait until daytime. So let's play some cards in the pitch dark for 2 hours, and then maybe we can sleep for another hour, and hopefully that'll get us close enough to dawn to have some illumination to work with. I don't know, I feel robbed or cheated. Waves, like light waves, they're supposed to wrap around obstacles, so I don't see why the sun's rays don't wrap around the earth and illuminate what I need illuminated. Okay, getting there. Getting there. Too windy for a fire, almost certainly, and I'd prefer to wait until more daytime, because if it's sunny, I love to use a magnifying glass to start a fire. But let's see, what do we want to drop? Because the next location that I want to go to is the Bleak Inlet. And we can drop probably a decent amount of this medical stuff. Extra water purification tablets, painkillers, can probably drop most of that. Don't have any clothing to drop. Decent amount of this food can get dropped. Well, I guess the non-meat food, I mean. And as far as this equipment is concerned, I don't think... Let's start by dropping the cans. We have one cook pot, which is, in my opinion, enough for me to be comfortable on the cooking and water generating side of things. We're going to drop the normal bedroll, because now we've got the bearskin bedroll. Probably could drop the arrowheads, because we have 3 banged up arrows and 6 perfectly good, pristine, beautiful arrows. And I don't think that I'll run out of arrows with this many. Now, I never really use flares, and there's probably going to be some to pick up at the Bleak Inlet, so we can probably drop the flares. Not carrying a flare gun, so we can drop the shell. And can definitely drop all this stump remover, all the crow feathers, and the scrap metal too. Was that acorn grounds? Coffee. Okay. So let's see if it's brighter inside. Sometimes you need to go in and out. I guess it's the other way around. You need to go out and in before the interior lighting updates. Okay, I think all of these cabinets, this one's not full, and conveniently, we can put all the stump removers right in. All these cabinets are basically full with crafting stuff. But where did I put... We can put the arrowheads here. Where's my crow feather stash? Should be somewhere. C is for crow feathers. There it is. I actually don't want to put them here. So let's grab those. And put them somewhere a little bit more sensible. Or findable, let's say. Well, we can drop the flares and stuff in here. One more flare. And let's see. Yeah, I don't really know what I would want to keep these tools, these simple tools around for. I know they make certain activities go faster. Like I think you can make fishing lures faster with them. But you can only shave off a few minutes of making a fishing lure, and it doesn't take that long to begin with. So I've never really found a use for them. Okay, we can drop bedroll. We can put some of this food back. And this stuff I want to cook. We can get some water while we cook. Let's see, where is all of our weight coming from? Harvest, harvest. Okay, the mass. We have a decent amount here. Let's drop the accelerant, because I never use it. I suppose we don't need so many matches. And we can keep the sticks, because those are disposable, they'll get used up. And put in some of these E-stems here. Don't need so many, or if I do, then, you know, it's probably already doomed. Drop the purification tablets. Drop the burdock. Keep these because they're light enough. Dressing, keep. Antibiotics. I don't need so many, but I am somewhat worried about how low condition these things are. Okay, that should be good. What else do we have mass on? That's droppable. So here we've got some. Here we've got 9 kilograms. But nothing that I really would like to drop. I guess we could drop the sewing kits, because I have so many of these fishing tackle lines. Are there any sewing kits here? Yes, there are. I like to have things kind of grouped up in one spot so that I can find them easily. Okay, looking good. And let's put these feathers in here probably, because the arrowheads are here, and feathers are an arrowhead kind of thing. And scrap metal. Where do I have scrap metal? Here. But is there room? Not really. Okay, so I guess... not room here either. Well, I guess we can just start tossing the scrap metal in random places. Okay, now we have... Ooh, this is rough. So, the bearskin bedroll, 3 kilograms. The normal bedroll is 1 kilogram. And let's see, the bearskin bedroll does 12 Celsius of warmth. The normal bedroll, let's see. We can find a spot to put it. There. Where's that 1 pixel? Come back. Come on. I saw you turn green. Well, I suppose we can walk upstairs. There should be room here. So this does 3.1 Celsius. Although I guess if you fixed it up, maybe it would do 4 Celsius. And 2 more kilograms for the bearskin bedroll. Let's think. I actually don't entirely know what I'm walking into in these next regions, so I don't know if there's good shelter. I think having the 2 more kilograms of carry weight is probably worth the extra warmth in case I can't actually find. Oh, there's a cat. He's meowing. It's not me. You're okay. Hey, come get a scratch. But I think the 2 extra kilograms is worth the carry weight, even though it would be nice to have, 14 extra kilograms that I could carry instead of 8, or not 8, instead of 12. Let's see. We need to cook some things. And probably make a couple of fire-hardened arrows, which I will need some of those crow feathers for. Because I think I broke all of my fire-hardened arrows. Get 5. When I was hunting these rabbits that I'm about to cook. Okay. So, unfortunately not sunny enough to use the magnifying glass, but it's also not so windy that we can't start a fire. Take charcoal. And you're okay. Hey. What do you see out there? Ooh, first fail to attempt to start a fire in a long time. But I suppose it happens. And let's ignore the fact that these probabilities are independent and say it's better that it happens here where we're in complete safety than somewhere else where we're not. Add this. We can start cooking these. Do not want to survey because I've already surveyed. And let's do a little bit of water in the meantime. Those should finish about the same time. Let's get some wood. And how many sticks am I carrying? None. I like to always have a couple of sticks for fire starting purposes. Okay, we hear an awoo. We see an awoo. Okay, and how long does it take to make a fire hardened arrow? What do we need? Gradual, blah, blah, blah. I don't know why it's... There we go. We need more sticks. Okay. 2, 3. Okay, let's cook this food. 5 minutes till boiled. You're fine. And 22 minutes to craft some arrows. Alright, let's craft, and that'll take basically the same amount of time for the rabbit to cook. Great. Let's do that. This. I feel like my fire's about to get burned out. Well, we can dream. Did not want to pick that up. Cook. Rabbit, cook. Yeah. Well, at least we'll get the rabbit out of it. Unfortunate. Very unfortunate. Okay, there's not much more to cook, but I do want to grab a bunch of water before heading out. And then we can take either some food from the fridge or some food from here. Let's see, do we see Winnie the Pooh anywhere? There's a bear cave right under the rock in front here. And sometimes it's patrolling out on the ice. But as of yet, I don't see it. Okay, so this can sit. Let's head inside. And maybe take a quick nap for an hour. See if the wind dies down, which would be the ideal situation. Use my ears. It sounds like there's less wind outside. So I think we might be able to continue cooking. Unfortunately, it's still cloudy. So we do need to burn one more match. As much as I hate to do it, I'm not super concerned on account of the... What's the word I'm looking for? On account of having 44 of them.
That's done.
Okay. Let's put another cedar on the Barbie. Get another couple sticks. And start cooking. Not cooking, water cooking. Oops. In between the time that I clicked on that thing and pressed spacebar to pass the time until it cooked, it finished cooking, so I ate it directly. That was unintentional. Okay. Just kind of do some water until this fire burns down. And you can probably do a ½ liter. Okay. And that is a good amount of water. Let's pick up some food and then head out. I would like to get past the train tracks before nightfall. Okay. There's probably going to be some food down there, but I'm not entirely sure how much. And this is also a good excuse to pick up some of these low-condition foods and eat them. Food. Okay, we can put a little bit of this water back. But I would like a whole bunch. Okay, this should be fun. Let's wait for the campfire to burn down, because I will need charcoal to scout out the bleak inlet. I've never been there. The map will be completely covered in fog of war. Let's see, do we see the bear? We do not. We do hear an ooh, and I think it's that pack over there on the snow, on the ice. How can words be so difficult? I'll let you in on a secret. Half the reason that I'm streaming at all is to practice multitasking. Speaking and playing at the same time. Eventually, you won't be embers, you'll be smolders. What comes after embers? I'm not entirely sure. Maybe just go straight to burnt out fire. We shall discover together. Just burned out, okay. Get a charcoal. That should tide us over. And let us head out. So the plan, and you know how it goes, you know, plans never survive contact with the enemy, is to walk over, go past the Jackrabbit Island to the fishing camp, and I know that once we get to the fishing camp, we can just kind of walk inland, eventually hit these train tracks, and head over to the ravine. Hello, Bambi. The ravine has the climbing rope that'll take us to Bleak Inlet. So let us put a wiggle on. And probably have a decent amount of food. Definitely will have to hunt or forage once we get there. Because this isn't so much food that I can really, you know, have multiple days. Well, actually, I think this zone is really great for fishing, and I spent a bunch of time ice fishing in this little fishing hut here. So I think I might actually pick up a fish as well. The upside of... is that a deer? Okay, yeah, this is an entire herd of deer, so it's safe to go that way. Yeah. These are so light. Water. And well, I guess that's all the fish. That's like 20 calories of fish. Oh, more than I was expecting. Fish they're convenient to get as long as you can break the ice. And they are safe to get because you don't have to fight something to do it. Oh, arrows. Excellent. This is an amazing windfall. There's like almost nothing more I'd rather find getting blown up onto the ice shore than some arrows. Because arrowheads are really hard to get. You have to either find them on arrows or go all the way over to the broken railroad on the western edge of the map to forge them. And that's a pain in the bohunkus. So if you can find some arrowheads, and even better, find some intact arrows, it's nice. Okay. But as I was saying, fish they're safe to get, low resource to get, but they're extremely heavy for the amount of calories they give you. So they're not good for travel. The caloric density is extremely low, and these guys are just chilling. Bro's just vibing. Well, I say that, and of course they scatter. But yeah, I definitely do enjoy the artistic direction that they took in this game. Immaculate vibes. So we're just walking. Yeah, basically what's going to happen is... let's see. I believe there's a gap in the rocks right up there that we can walk up. And that'll put us on a road that's going through a set of switchbacks that heads up to the train tracks. Then we go into a tunnel, and will be in the next and, in my opinion, most dangerous area or most precarious area in the game that I know of course. There's a whole bunch of regions to the north that I've never been in. But surely they can't be as precarious as a busted up set of rail tracks that goes over a instant death ravine. Surely. You're looking good. I'm not hearing any awoos in this direction. I think I may have once in all of my time that I can remember seen an awoo on the far side of these cabins. But I think we're all right for now. I do not hear anything. Although if there is something waiting in ambush, we're going to have some trouble. Okay, that awoo is far ahead and to the left, kind of at 11 o'clock. So let's just be careful walking in this direction. Okay. Looking good. Let's go around to this direction. I'm hoping to be able to get through these rocks here, and it looks like we can. I'm hoping to skew a little bit more right than I was initially planning, because that ought to let us go around Mr. Fluffles that I heard just now. Can we walk up here, though? I think maybe not. Are we Skyrim goading sufficiently? We might have to go over these rocks and through this pass ahead, which is taking me a little bit farther to the left than I would like. We'll see what we've got to deal with. See, that awoo is almost directly in front this way, and I don't like that. Oh, hello. Saw you. Let's sneak until that guy goes maybe a little bit lower or back up the hill. We should be less detectable by him because we don't have any scent marks. Not really carrying any raw meat. But come on, don't you have better things to do? And this might be a little bit too steep to actually go up. So yeah, keep walking. Keep it walking. Okay, you're not facing me, so let's see if we can get up this hill. Ooh, this is steep. Come on, let me up. Let me up. Okay, here we go. And safe. Okay. Now I'm only worried about the awoo that I heard farther to the north, which might be lurking over one of these hilltops. That awoo is behind. And these look like the scaffoldings of the road that we're looking to follow. Yes. Oh, lordy. I knew I heard you. So first we Kobe for accuracy and precision. Okay, so we missed, but it was enough to scare him off. Now, it's not going to scare him off forever. He will be back. So let's move up while we can. If we can get him far enough away, hopefully we can hit him with a Kobe. And either scare him off or actually hit him. Let's see. Where did he end up? There you are. So let's hit you with a Kobe. Kobe. Okay, that's going to be a no. Are you running? Are you running? I think you're running. Oh. Don't tell me that thing. Man. Oh. Where are you? Yeah, keep running. Unfortunately, I think I shot that arrow too high, and it flew off this way. And arrows are precious, so I don't want to lose it. Let's go try to find it before I forget where it went. That was quite unfortunate. I need to remember there's another arrow back up on that road. Okay, let's see. Here it is. Normally, I have extreme difficulty finding arrows, so I'm kind of glad that that was such a non-issue. Especially for shooting it so far away. Okay, I saw Mr. Fluffles just walk over that little hill there. So let's see if we can scale this hill and not have to go around the long, short way. The first time I fell off the rail bridge up in this ravine up here, I died, and then it put all my stuff in that little campsite. And that's why, if we can get off this hill, that's why there is a little campfire, recovery campsite on the map. Okay, and the arrow should be right about here. Okay. So this will go up, switch back to the left, and then right over that ridge, I think is where the rail tracks are. And once we hit those, it should be smooth sailing over to the next region. Unless I get stuck on geometry, question mark? I guess there's a tiny rock there. This is the route that I went when I fell off that bridge. I was going in the dark, I got stuck here, was extremely confused, because there's a little divot that you can't walk up. I was basically just navigating by the edges and silhouettes of things. So like a divot in the road there, I couldn't detect before I fell in it. And then when I finally got over to the bridge, I could barely see what was going on. And I stopped myself from falling off one of the broken rail, what do you call the rail lanes? The metal bits that the actual wheels go on, these things. These things. I stopped myself from falling on one of those, but I didn't realize that some of these ties in between, I don't know if those are called ties, some of the wooden bits in between the rails, there's gaps over in the next region that you can fall through, and I didn't realize that. And I also couldn't see it. So I just looked down and I saw something dark and thought, that must be the dark wood, because otherwise I'd see light snow. But it turns out that there's actually just a gap looking down into a support below. And so I fell straight in. Alright, kind of getting low on the fatigue. I would like to get, so there's a very, I don't know if it's very long, but there's a substantially distant rope that needs to be climbed down to get to the next area. I'd like to get down that before napping to get this fatigue back. We can start eating some of this fish. Because one thing that happens is once you are past half fatigue, you start losing your ideal carry weight, and it makes it easier to get over encumbered. And if you are over encumbered in any way, you eventually slow down your walking speed. But more importantly, if you're over encumbered in any way, you can't climb up or down mountaineering ropes. Yeah, so there's an extremely dangerous piece of bridge that needs to be crossed. This rickety thing here. Not only can you fall, if you're walking down the middle here, not only can you unexpectedly fall, but some of these tracks are out. Like here, you need to go on the right side very carefully, and then you need to very carefully switch over to the left side and then continue. Oof. Makes me worried every time. And here, like this, I wouldn't trust the designers to not let me fall through there. So even though it feels like I should be able to just walk in the middle of these train tracks and be safe, I'm gonna stay walking on the track the whole time on this bridge. Don't trust it one bit. Okay, but we're wanting to end up not in this sort of broken... Actually, here's a question. How do so many well-cut and cleanly cut logs end up at the bottom of this ravine without there being some kind of transport train car down there being the reason they fell off? That is some... I'm not entirely sure what that environmental storytelling is trying to say. You'd think so many... It seems like they're clean-cut logs. There's not really anywhere above they could have fallen from. Who's to know? Maybe it's just aesthetic and they didn't put too much thought into it. Okay, so through this little cave, there is a bit of jank that we'll have to do to pass through the next area because there's a landslide slash some more tracks that are out in this next area, and we need to cross a fallen tree to get around them. But getting on top of the fallen tree trunk is... It takes a little bit of geometry abuse. And so we will do that when we get to it. We're not quite there yet, but it's more of a... In my opinion, it doesn't feel intended. Let me describe it like that. Getting onto this tree trunk that is almost certainly, as far as I can tell, the only way over this next gap doesn't feel intended. And we want to end up in this area down here. Down there. That's where the next region is. Yeah, like there's a little cave. You might be able to walk. Hold on, what was that? I just want to make sure that that is not a bear, but it looks like a tree trunk. I don't think there's actually anything dangerous in this region. I've never heard an awoo. It feels like there's not enough roaming space for there to be a bear around here. Okay. So up here is where we have to go around. But at the same time, around is where the climbing rope to the next region is. Well, to the region below, which we can then walk to the next region. Okay. There is our landslide. And if I remember, to get on, see there's our rope. To get on the tree trunk down there, we have to go over here and then hop down. Into this way. Avoid the inexplicable invisible wall. Hop, hop, hop. Down here. And now we can cross onto this guy. Okay, that's not too bad. Once you have an idea of where to go. This is a way up. That also doesn't feel intended. I feel like this whole thing should be walkable, but some of it's too steep to get up. And now we can shimmy down this rope and check out a new area that I've never been to before. And see if there's anything good down here. Oh yeah, that looks like a long way down. This is a substantial rope. Okay. This climbing speed is a lot slower than I was expecting for going down. Maybe it's because the fatigue is so low. Yeah, so the ledge is nice to be able to sleep on, in case you can't make it up in one go. But this is definitely something I would want to drink coffee before trying to climb up, or even an energy drink. Yeah, and our fatigue bar is so low, we're probably risking being over encumbered. Yeah, the fatigue really starts dropping, and by the time the fatigue bar is out, this will be all the way down to 25 kilograms of carry weight max. So what do we want to do? Let's get some firewood. Let's stick with just normal sticks. I don't want to use any hatchet durability quite yet, because we don't quite need so much burning time. We need to break a limb down. Are you interval? You are. Do you have anything good? Cloth, don't need it. Can use that. I don't use that's ruined, so it's useless. Okay, so skill-wise, I don't use the rifles so much that I've got, high skills. Use a bunch of archery stuff. Use the bow a lot, so that's already maxed out. But because the rifle firearm skill is not yet maxed out, we can use that Frontier Shooting Guide to simultaneously burn time in case we want to just wait for whatever reason. Also, increase skills. Oh, Cairn. Its story is not yet written, as is the case for so many of these things. So let's continue along and see if we can hit up that cave. The cave might actually be a good place. I'm missing prepositions or particles. The cave might actually be a good place to take a nap. We're missing enough fatigue that we can sleep for about 9 hours now. That's going to leave us something like 4 or 5 or 6 a.m. when we wake up, which is still dark. But luckily, let's make sure this cave is unoccupied. Luckily, we just picked up that book that we can read until it is dark enough. How does a whole fur limb get in here?
It's dusk. So
and
far behind.
Okay, makeshift bed. We can read and burn some time so that our wake up time lines up a little bit better with the dawn.
Not sure why I feel so tired.
Because you've been awake all day. I don't think we'll get these other 2 hours in. Unless... Okay, nice. Very nice. I don't know why we can read in the extreme dark as long as it's nighttime. Okay, where's that bed? Somewhere over here. I think. Okay, never mind. Let's just go to the mouth of the cave and use the bearskin bedroll. They tossed you down. Drink first, because we will dehydrate. Actually, let's not fully drink. Use some of these peaches, because the peaches do have some liquid in them. Right, and maybe one more peach. And now if we sleep for 12 hours, we might actually make it all the way until noon. Right, that's looking good. Kind of a little bit low on food now, though, but that was expected. Let's start with 11. Achievement. Wrapped in furs. Sleep in a bearskin bedroll, wearing a wolfskin coat, with deerskin pants, rabbit skin hat, rabbit skin mittens. Okay. Pick you up. drink again. Rehydrate. Okay, it's a little earlier than I was anticipating. Wait a second. You're new. Where did you come from? That should be good. Let's use no tool. Save the condition, even though the hunting knife lasts for a long time. But it's nice to have that meat. Less nice to have the scent mark. Okay, so there's a bunch of... Let's remember there's a bunch of cattail plants around here, which are fantastic for calorie density. But as far as I know, they are a non-renewable resource. So let's leave that for if we need them on the way back. Okay, you can eat. Actually, depending on exactly how fast we can find food in the next region, we may need to double back and pick them up. But for now, let's forge ahead. Alright, leaving ravine. And here is the bleak inlet. What are you? Are you just a rock? No, you're just the edge of the tree stump. Okay, let's start off with the charcoal so that we know where the entrance is. Okay, not bad. Let's see. Just grass. Let's head over and see if we can find another decent vantage point to start mapping out this area. Summit at Ravine's End. I suppose this is the end of the ravine. I would have liked maybe a little bit more convenient of a spot to be able to get down, but it's not that bad. Let's stick to the right side. And that should make it a little bit more methodical as we map out this region. What is that? I think that's just ice. Okay, we can pick up this green maple sapling. This plus some cured gut is good for another survival bow. Although I've probably got about 20 maple saplings back at our original base. Let's see, is this a dead end? This looks like it might be a dead end. Which is nice. Yeah. Oh, is that all traversable? This looks like it might be quite a big area. Dead end is nice because it means there are fewer paths to have to traverse to map out the region. Unless we can go around up here. That I was not paying attention to on the way in. No. No, that's not passable. Alright, let's check out this little nook over this direction. Pick up a little bit of firewood on the way. Okay, no, that's a dead end as well. Very good. Which means this direction over here is the only way out of this plateau area. Just the way I like it. Okay. Let's hope there's nothing hiding in ambush. Oh, there's a camper's thing over there. Maybe it's... Uh-oh. Something fluffy is afoot. Multiple fluffy things are afoot. And they didn't even have the... They didn't even have the courtesy to awoo in advance. Let's see if we can skirt around to the left here and not get surprised. I want to make it over to that fire tower. Yeah, even that fire tower, I'm surprised they put it in such a low area compared to the plateau we're just coming from. Seems counterintuitive, but who knows. Okay, this is a... Okay, cave and rabbits. Rabbits means we're safe up here. Because if there were wolves, they would be hunting. Let me head up this hill and see if there's any good vantage point. Because there's nothing I like more than finding a vista that will let us survey a lot more than normal. And I'm wondering if there might be one such thing up in this direction. Okay, I would like to step on a less steep piece of snow for a moment just to restart the leg breaking timer. Because if I walk or stand on a... Hello, you're interesting. Okay, we can go in there. Let's actually pop a charcoal to get that on the map. Okay, that's actually a pretty good reveal. Oh, what is that? Badge received, but I have no idea what that badge is. Okay. There's probably going to be a whole bunch of good stuff in here. But I'm also probably not going to take any of it. Because this is so close. I don't really have a good light source. This is so close to the exit of the zone that anything in here that I would want to take, which it might actually be empty. It's looking like it's empty. But as I was saying, anything that I would want to take, I would probably want to leave it here so I don't lug it around the entire area. But this looks like it's actually completely empty. There's nothing on any of these shelves. Just cardboard boxes. Not seeing any containers to be opened. Okay, so this might just be a little sleeping spot. Unless that prepper didn't prep. Okay. Let's check out that cave. Not a bad spot. Despite being slightly out of the way. Okay, this looks like it is blocked by scrub for some reason. Hopefully the reason is not there's a bear inside. The gate isn't to keep you out. The gate is to keep it in. Okay, can we just walk around? Yes, save us some time. Firewood, firewood.
This stuff will come in handy.
Flare, don't need the cap. And is there anything else nice in the depths of this cave? Doesn't seem like it. Okay. So just firewood and an extra bed. All right, let's continue. Let's try to get to that fire lookout. Skirt around the fluffy things. Now, we are pretty low on food. just have these peaches and about 800 calories of venison to cook, which all in all is probably only good for about maybe a little bit more than half of a food gauge. So I might have to hunt these wolves. I suspect that I'll get scented because we do have one smell mark. And it looks like we're having to get pretty close to head over to that fire break. Not fire break, fire watchtower. Oh! Nope, 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 nope. We want a fire and start. Hopefully they won't come close enough to the fire. This is a... Okay, I think if they were going to, they would have by now. Ugh, didn't like that noise. This is my strat.
Turned out pretty well.
For these Timberwolves in the campaign. Come on. Okay, because this is about as close as they'll get. Add more fuel, because the way we make them go away is we wait for you to get close, and then if we throw this thing at you at a sufficiently close distance, we'll scare the piss out of you. Oh, that didn't work. Let's get multiple hits. Come on now. Give me that. Give me that back. Alright, come on. And Kobe. There we go. Take torch. Come on now. Come on. Come on. Why you gotta be running? Coward. Coward. I see you slinking away. Oof. And Kobe. There we go. Come on. Oh, 3 of them. I thought there were only 2. And Kobe. Okay, that was only good for 1 hit. Kobe. Oh, 2 hits. Yeah, basically, what I want to happen is I want it to bump against them multiple times because that will scare them a lot more. Like that. See? Okay. And I think I actually want to keep some of these torches, just in case. Now, the ideal... This one is almost burned out. The ideal scenario, I guess one, is that we probably could have been cooking these things in the meantime. 35 and 39, nice. We're probably going to have to hunt those things and actually take them out because they'll stay afraid for maybe a day. I don't even know if it'll be that long. But I think to sort of make the area a little bit safer, I'm going to have to hunt them down and probably eat them. Oh, paused. I thought oh, you got blown out. Unfortunate. Okay, well, let's hope they're still afraid. If they are, they'll run when I get close enough. And we should be able to get to the fire watchtower. The downside being I kind of want to spend some time in the fire watchtower. And if I spend time in there, that means that by the time I leave, they'll probably be emboldened again. Get some of these branches. Right now, what is the way up to this thing? Probably over there. Okay, birch. Birch sapling. Always love to see it. Oh no. Mountaineering rope spot. Please, please don't be the only way down. All those... Hmm. Oh, that's frustrating. This... Let's hope that's not the only way down. Let's hope there's a longer way down and that this is just a shortcut. We should be able to tell whether or not that's the case once we get up to this tower. Okay, we're walking. Alright, I think we'll make it up fine. But we are going to need to hunt some. Yeah, this switches back. What are you? Oh, you're just a walking... No, you're a Vista. Flash Overlook. But are you a proper Vista? Let's find out. Ideally? No, that's unfortunate. Oh, this is... That looks... Okay. That looks accessible. Which means we can probably... Yeah. We can walk down here, which means we can go around, and we don't actually need a mountaineering rope. Which is good. Because I think I do have 1 or 2 extra. But I'd have to, 1, run around and find it, and 2, lug it all the way here. And are you coal? No, you're just general supplies. You can take the firewood. Pensive outlook. Oh, matches. Love to see it. Okay, let's see. Anything on the outside? Like a vista, perhaps? Wait a second. How's there a computer in here? Ah, yes, mountaineering rope. Perfect. The question is, though, do I want to just put it right there? I think so. Because honestly, how many other cliffs are there going to be for mountaineering ropes in this region to go on? And I don't want to lug it all the way back up, because the ravine had that mountain rope that we're going to have to climb up and not be over encumbered when we do it. Okay.
I'll be hungry later.
I'm hungry now. Let's see. Book. You are part of the coastal highway map. That base is right there. Let's see if you've got anything good stashed away. Bandage, that's fine. Scrap in the trash. Got books for burning, bandage, bed. Nothing too good. Check the drawers. A stack of papers, don't need that. Okay. And I guess a bunch of cans. Kind of want to go hunt one of those wolves. Because we're a bit low on the food situation. So let's start with a... Kobe. That looked like a miss. Let's go get the arrow. If there's a blood splatter and no arrow, then we hit. Otherwise, we miss. Let's go down before I forgot where that thing landed. Should be somewhere in this vicinity. And I think I heard the arrow break, which is unfortunate. There it is. Oh no. That was quicker than anticipated. Let's get back to somewhere safe. Uh-oh. You're close. Okay, we're going. We're going. Let's hope you have a bit of trouble pathing up here. Okay, that's actually perfect. I think they can walk up these stairs. Let's see what happens. Because if they do, I'll have to go all the way up and inside. Okay, come on, punk. What, are you afraid? Not going to get me in my tower? See if we can get an advantage on them. I think they might all just be stacked up under that rock. Yeah. I wonder, can we... Kobe! Aw, come on. Who does this? Who does this? That would have hit. Okay, can we sneak it up here? You gonna dodge like that? Okay, and that... It may be you. And... Kobe! Nailed it. Okay, so that's 2. Perfect. That's actually very nice. And you have actually got a half a mind to take a pot shot at. And... Ah, come on. Why you gotta make yourself a moving target? But fine, run, punk. Tell the rest about me. Spread this story. Alright. That is actually probably the best thing I could have hoped for. So let's get those arrows. You broke. That was expected. Let's see, you got hit by an arrow. You must still be stuck. Are you gonna run? Yeah, that's right. That's right. I'm trying to remember. Did I shoot and miss one arrow somewhere out here? I don't think I was able to. So let's harvest. And this actually puts us in a pretty good spot for this region. Lots of meat. Love to see it. Okay, perfect. Yeah, yawn, yawn, yawn. Yawn, yawn, yawn. Alright, and you too had an impromptu nap. Can I really not harvest with my bare hands? I thought I was able to do that. So the knife at 55% is still... It's getting a little bit low. Getting a little bit low. But it still should be enough. Because as you saw, we harvested that whole Timberwolf and only lost 1% of condition. So the knife lasts for a long time before you have to sharpen it. Okay, let's see. I hear you, punk. Trying to sneak up on me. Yeah, there you are. How'd you miss? I see what you were trying to do. You made it away this time. Wait, didn't you have an arrow? Well, at any rate, any rate, we'll stop that guy from getting revenge. Maybe even take him out later. Coward. Alright, what's a nice little cozy spot to put a fire? So I want to put a fire down, particularly on the ground, because up here, there is a stove, and this stove won't get blown out in case there's wind, but it also only has one cooking slot.
It's getting dark out here. Time to look for shelter.
Ah, cooking pot, very nice. And the one cooking slot is bad because it means that we'll basically have to expend twice the time and fuel. Let's pop a charcoal before we go down. We'll have to expend twice the time and fuel in order to cook the same amount of things. All right. Looking good. Okay, excellent. Kind of would have hoped for a little bit better.
Feels like a lot of gear.
It is a lot of gear. But you take what you can get, I suppose. We're not going to get snuck up on, right? Okay, let's plop this mountaineering rope down. See you over there. Let's actually drop all the food here. Just so we can walk a little bit faster, and we're coming back here to cook anyway. So there is 0 loss. Okay, how much burn time do we have? Decent number of sticks, but might need some more. So let me snag a few of these branches over in this direction. Grab you. Aha! There was an arrow that I forgot about. Oh no, we were going to get this before we got ambushed by those wolves just now. That's what we were doing. Okay, and let's get all these branches, and then I think we'll have enough burn time to get all this food cooked. And even maybe start up a water stash. Great. Because this area, I think, is actually pretty good.
Right now.
Oh, you'll eat more than anything. This area is actually pretty good for a little supply base in this region. It's not the most central thing possible, but it's in a really good spot with regards to taking things into and out of the area. Alright, you're deployed. And you go down like meow. What did I hear? Okay, nothing. Must have been the wind. Alright, and this is... I said it before, I'll say it again. I think the, whoever's doing the art direction really nailed the dawn and dusk. Yeah. Looking good. Yeah, all of that down there looks like it's a place that you can walk to. So we might actually be spending a lot more time in this bleak inlet area than I was anticipating. I thought it was just going to be these little estuaries and tributaries. Well, not estuaries and tributaries. What are these? This little delta area. But it looks like maybe these islands and this isthmus, the peninsula, are in play too. Okay. Pick all you up. I want
Might have to drop some gear.
Yeah, drop it on the fire. Drop some of these scrumps on the Barbie. I want to put the fire right about here for two reasons. One, we can keep an eye on the on anything trying to sneak up. And two, I think it might give us a little bit of wind coverage from, I guess that's the south. So let's do our stick. Let's do the low number cardboard matches. Eventually we'll get that out of the inventory. And we do have 2 cooking pots.
Come on.
Weapons of meth destruction. Not that kind of cooking.
That did it.
Do the cedar. Sticks. Aha. Master fire starting. And what does that give us? Let's see. 90% chance to start fires. I thought I just had a 90% chance. Start 50% faster. Last 50% longer. That's great. Okay, so
Find a place to rest.
yeah, so normally I would only get 10 minutes out of a stick. But 2 hours 6, 2 hours 17, that's a little bit more than 10 minutes. So let's start cooking. And we'll do the meat first. When we eventually get to the point where we're getting low on meat, we can start doubling or halving, do half meat, half water on the cook situation. Oh.
I need to find
Sorry for not seeing the things being typed. Let's see. Yes, I'm fine. And I guess you were there for the wolf situation. Okay, let's speed this up. Ooh, I do not want to run out of food calories, to lose that food buff.
That guy who drank his own tea doesn't seem so crazy right now.
Ah, Bear Grylls reference. Okay, let's actually do a little bit of water. And we can cook the meat at the same time. Okay, because we are currently in the process of dehydrating. Luckily, it does take a while. Okay. I always say this is like a rhythm game that I'm not very good at. Cook revolution. Okay, I probably should have drank some of that. Let's see. So we got this. Yeah, basically the thing that I usually use to monitor the chat is apparently not working. I just need to keep the tab open. 38 and 38, that works out nicely. I did not mean to take that torch. So let us add that. Stow that. Let's see, add fuel. We can put a bunch of these sticks in. Bunch of these sticks, and hope that this fire doesn't get blown out. I don't know how familiar you are with this game, but if you have, let's say, a fire that's got 12 hours worth of burn time, because you've just dumped a whole bunch of logs and sticks into it, if the wind comes along and blows the fire out, everything that's unburned it'll just disappear. It will be stolen from you. And so if you're being extremely careful,
I'm so tired, I could just lay down right here.
you need to move. So that audio cue to distract myself means there's an aurora. And an aurora means that electricity works. And electricity works means that the computer up in that cabin is going to be on. Kind of want to go and read what's on it. We walk, walk, walk. The game, so the premise of this game is there's some kind of solar event. Oh, well, that's interesting. Oh, of course, that's the radio tower. And so the anti-fly into this lights are on because it's an aurora. Anyway, to interrupt myself for a second time in a row, the premise of this game, and epilepsy warning, by the way. Can you not read this? The premise of this game is that there's some kind of solar event that basically EMPs the entire world and knocks out all electronics. So nothing electronic works, except when there's an aurora, there's like intermittent power provided by the electromagnetic waves to basically anything that works on electricity. And so things turn on kind of like in a janky manner. So for example, I guess it's kind of, can't tell from here, but like any lights will kind of flicker on and off. Kind of explaining what's going on with this computer screen over here. But normally, in like other laptops and things that I've seen, you've been able to access the computer during the aurora and read anything. There's usually like some kind of a note or a log or an email on it that you can read, but apparently you can't access all of them. Because there's it keeps track. It's called buffer memories, which is basically you reading things on computers during auroras. And I was hoping that I'd be able to read something on that computer, but apparently not. I suppose you win some and you lose some. Let's hope this meat didn't get burned. Should be fine. Yeah, it's not even ready yet. Well, that one's in the process of being cooked. Okay, so let's cook you. Make some more water. Wait until you are cooked. And then we just have the meat and the venison to cook. We'll need a little bit more fuel. So we'll wait until you're cooked. Uh-oh. No, the wind blew it out. Ah. Well, all that burn time is lost. That's the downside. The downside of putting too much wood on the fire. Well, we are dying from fatigue. So let's take a nap up here. We can sleep until probably around noon, honestly. And if we're lucky, the weather will still be... Well, it's not sunny now, but it will still be not cloudy, which means we can start a fire with the magnifying glass. Sleep for an hour and see if that refreshes things and makes that computer accessible. Sometimes things need a little bit of a refresh to update properly, it seems, in this game. But no luck. So let's finish sleeping. Let's finish sleeping and then head in. Or head down to... And it is sunny, so we can... Always a treat to be able to use the magnifying glass to start a fire, because it means we get to save a non-renewable resource, that being the matches, and get a free fire out of it. All right. And not seeing our fluffy friend from before. What was that down there? That was a tree trunk. Let's start this fire over and keep cooking. Start you with a magnifying lens and a stick. Perfection. And that is starting a little bit faster than I'm used to.
Come on.
Now that we're a master fire starter.
That did it.
Okay, add fuel. Probably going to need to add all these sticks. I believe we finished the Frontier Shooting Guide. We did. It would show up on this tool page instead of only on the fire starting page, which means we can burn that in the case that we need it for the venison, which actually, no, we're 10 minutes free.
I'm gonna have to leave something behind.
Okay, we can use this extremely convenient supply bin, stow most of this food, most of this water, and let's wait for this fire to burn down, because then we can pick up the charcoal. That charcoal is going to be pretty important for scouting out the rest of this region, because the region looks like it's going to be quite large. I think we can leave one of these cooking pots here, and we can take the other. But which one is lower condition? They're both 76. Pick up. Alright, so that... Let's see here, anything... Don't really see any landmarks down in that direction. Let's go up, sleep for an hour. Actually, drop the, we harvested some pelts and some guts from those wolves. So let's toss those on the ground in here so they can start curing. And also so that we're not lugging them around. Right about here should be fine. We can drop. And also the saplings, which leaves us more free weight-wise. All right, looking good. Fire is in the process of burning out. It's currently just embers. How we doing? All right. So unfortunately, Mackenzie is not brave enough to just shove his hand into a bunch of embers to grab out the charcoal that I'm wanting. But I suppose that wouldn't be a good idea anyway. All right, one day these embers will burn down. It was promised by my forebears. The story passed down in legends that these embers would one day turn into a burnt-out fire. And wouldn't you know it, the legends have come true. The prophecy as foretold has been fulfilled. And our treasure, our gift, our birthright, the charcoal, has been acquired. Okay. And let's think. So, we are right about here, looking at this hill here. Now, I believe there might be the last survivor of this wolf pack, this timber wolf pack, somewhere in this direction. But I also want to go in this direction because I want to finish surveying this upper area before going down. Grazing. And I'm thinking that maybe there's going to be some more firewood up there. Because if we run into another Timberwolf pack, or a Timberwolf pack that is feeling sufficiently brave, really the only thing that we can do about it is start a fire on the spot and hope that it keeps them from charging aggro. Let's see. I hear you, punk. I hear you, punk. Ooh. Quick scoped. Yeah, keep running. So that is the last of his bloodline about to go and bleed out. Alright. Now, we can loot in peace. Oops. Okay, that was somewhat stressful. Okay. Now my question is, I believe we actually came through that pass there. You can keep running around. Is there a way down over here? Or is this more of a sort of pond over a cliff situation? Which it's seeming like it might be. Okay, this place is looking pretty cute. And we have a deer. Get some venison. Yep. Grab all this stuff. Because we're not so far away from the lookout place that we can't head back. Actually, we're probably going to head back tonight. But in the meantime, let's make sure that this is a dead end over here. Hey, it is. And let us pop a charcoal and scout out this area. Perfect. Actually, that gave us everything on the other side of this rock too. That is fortuitous. Very fortuitous. Okay, so here's the plan. Probably head back to the lookout, see if that wolf is bled out, and if we can find it. And then, I believe, there's a way down over here, in addition to the way down right next to the lookout. And if we go down this one, we'll be in a good spot to put down another charcoal sort of in this dark area. Yeah. Actually, let's go down this way, pop a charcoal, and then head back up to the lookout. That'll be, I think, exactly what we want to do. Okay. Keep an eye out for little cubbies on the right and on the left. Because you never know what kind of nice swag could be stuffed up inside one. Alternatively, it could just be a dead end. These things happen. That was a weird noise. I blame the birds. Okay. Don't want to wait until it's too dark, because if it becomes too dark, we won't be able to survey anymore. Let's get down to this road, and that should be a good place to put up the charcoal. On the plus side, that's a deer. And the presence of deer is evidence of the absence of wolves. Okay. Now, actually, let's actually go a little bit into this clearing over here. One thing that's a little bit worrying, that landslide over there, I was hoping to go that direction to get to the lowlands in the east, but I'm wondering if it is going to force us to go... Hello. I'm wondering if it is going to force us to climb down that rope. Okay, let's pop it here. Not the greatest, because we're kind of hemmed in by all these rocks, but let's see where it puts us. Okay, that's actually perfect. Alright, we can check the vehicle some other time. Let's see if we can find that timber wolf that tried to roll up on us. Actually, let's swing around this way and see if there's a nice way across. Or if it's a dead end. Okay. I heard that little... And that, to me, sounds like a sound cue / music cue for an aurora. So I'm wondering if we're going to have another aurora tonight. Okay, yeah, this is impassable. I think. Unless there's a cheeky little spot to crawl through over here. And that's going to be a no from me, dog. Yeah. That little music cue just now is 100% an aurora music cue. So it looks like we're going to have another aurora tonight. Let's head back up to the overlook. Drop this... Another deer. Deer are just dropping like flies over here. Drop all of the things we can either cook. Unless... Maybe there's a pass over to the... No. We came down to the left. From the left and to the right. That is where... That's where the fire watch is. Okay. Harvest you. That should bring us to proper nighttime. Yeah. That is definitely an aurora noise. Okay, let's head up. Let's drop the uncooked meat in the meat storage thing. And let us pop the pelts and the guts that we just harvested inside so they can start curing. Oh yeah, so you're basically like me about, you know, whenever I started this. The first time I played this game was a long time ago, so it's episodic, right? They released the... Yeah, so the... Me neither until I started playing recently again. The first time I started playing this was back pretty close to when it came out. And when I say pretty close, so the game it's been released in episodes, right? The campaign is like episode 1, episode 2. Episode 5, the last one, pretty recently released. Like maybe a month ago, maybe a month and a half, something like that. And so I, got into it again, actually coincidentally. Where's the pass? I'm looking for a pass up to that building up there. So I started another survival run. The first time I played, there was really just the survival mode, and I think by the time I was winding down with that, there was episode 1 came out. So episode 1 came out, I played that, and then I just kind of put it down, and that must have been something like 6 years ago. This game has been in development for like almost a decade, and it's finally finished up. And so I came back, and I'm not going to, spoil a lot, but one of the things they added was the Aurora. Do you remember that sort of the premise of this game is that there's nothing, all the electronics don't work because there's like some, I don't know, it ends up being a solar event. One thing, and this is a minor / maybe major spoiler, and I have some theories that are maybe better than what they came up in the game that are officially canon. The Aurora actually repowers electronics. For example, those are the anti-airplane lights on a radio tower. And this fire break or fire watch thing has a computer in it. And it gets lit up during an aurora. Which is rare, but some interesting things happen. Yeah, but so there's basically... You can do, or you can see some things in the aurora that you wouldn't have expected. The first time I saw an aurora, right, is there's in one of the episodes, you'll basically you go out of a cave and like you're kind of walking into a new region, and that's when your first aurora happens. And one thing that is, well, let me not go a little bit too crazy. One thing is that electronics are now turning on. Another thing is that the aurora actually makes all the animals go like crazy, like more crazy than they normally are. So normally, you know, a wolf will chase you, it'll try to maul you and all that good stuff. During an aurora, the animals are, it's like they're on bath salts. They get glowing green eyes. They'll, you know, be completely fearless, except if you lure them or make them walk under a light source. That's the only way to make a wolf afraid during an aurora. And so the first time, you know, I walk out of this cave, I guess it's not a cave. You kind of wake up after getting attacked by a bear. Oh, they added bears, by the way. You wake up after getting attacked by a bear, I think in episode 2. You walk towards a thing, there's an aurora, there are some crazy wolves you have to figure out how to fight off. And that was my first experience with it. But there's always this weird, I don't know if it's a didgeridoo music or what. But unless you've got a specific purpose for it, in survival mode, the aurora is just kind of a... yeah, they've added a lot. In survival mode, the aurora is just kind of a little bit of a flavor thing that maybe makes it a little bit easier to see at night. So let's sleep it off. Let's sleep it off and head down. Okay. This is darker than I was expecting and hoping for. Okay, we came up here to drop a bunch of these curable things to free up the weight. And I think we'll go down, cook this food, make some more water, and then head out. It's still dark, but by the time we get somewhere that I would want to continue surveying, I think would definitely be bright enough. So here's our fire, and let's start this guy again. Unfortunately, have to use a match. If it's sunny and it's kind of the middle of the day, you can use a magnifying glass and save a match, which is pretty... Oops, did not mean to pick that up. When it comes to this cooking rhythm game, I always click the wrong thing. So we got click, click, click. Oh, probably want to add this fuel so it doesn't burn down. And now, let's start cooking this. Moldy venison should be fine after it's cooked, right? And there's also timber wolf packs that you can't scare off like normal wolves. You have to break their morale in pitched battle, or have some kind of a technique. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Okay, that is the fastest little cook time in all the land. Okay, 1 hour, 1 minute. Do we have anything else to cook? We do not. Water. Let's put this water down. Add some more fuel. And these visibility conditions are not great, but I did quick scope the last of 3 members of a timber wolf pack. And he should be bled out somewhere in this area. And I kind of want to go and see if I can get some meat off him. Realistic in certain aspects. It depends on which aspects we're talking about. But yeah, I would say as far as you know what, let's actually wait until we have better visibility. Yeah, so there's little blood drips that I could follow, but it's dark and it's probably run to a lot of different places. Unless, could it be? Ah. We found the body. Okay, let's see if we can... So sometimes, though, the hitboxes are a little bit questionable. There we go. Okay. So let's harvest all the things. And I think we're going to be quick enough. We're going to be quick enough that that water won't have boiled off completely. But yeah, if you do
someplace to escape
if you do hurt something like a wolf or a bear, actually I think wolf, bear, or deer, where you hit them, there will be a pretty big blood spatter right there, so you kind of know that you hit them, and then you can follow their tracks and see if they're leaving tiny little blood droplets, and you can follow them that way if you lose track. But if you do let them run around for long enough, they'll run around and go to different places to the point where, maybe the footprint tracks will get lost, and maybe there will be, snow that covers the blood tracks. And because it had been long enough, so basically when I shot that guy with an arrow, it was probably about 10 hours ago game time, and I don't actually know how long these prints last in the snow. And in addition, like I said before, this is not great visibility. It's getting better. That boiled off. This hasn't boiled off.
Kind of heavy.
How are we on burn time? So we can burn that. So 1:24. So let's put these shrimps on the Barbie and see if we can find some more. What's the word I'm looking for? Some more firewood. One thing that they added is, so when you initially played, there was probably skills for, I think, they might have had tool sharpening skills that you could use with a whetstone. Rabbits. They might have had fire starting skill. I think the fire starting skill was a thing. But other than that, they've sort of codified many more different skills. So there's carcass harvesting, cooking, fire starting, ice fishing, rifle firearm, tiny firearm, gunsmithing, a bunch of different things, and you can more easily track.
Wait. I'm so cold. I'm warming up again.
And they added these little books that are sort of lying around in different places that you can find and read. And what those will do is, you can spend multiple hours reading them, and they'll give you some... Yeah. Well, I have more things to say about the gunsmith skill, but let me mention this first. Like, this is where something... No, this is where that deer that we harvested was. And so that blood spatter is probably from the deer harvesting. But you can pick up these skill books and you can read them. It takes multiple hours to read each one, but they will increase the skill pretty substantially without actually having to, do the thing the skill is. Which can be good, because some of these skills are on the harder side to increase. For example, you've got to shoot and hit things to increase the rifle and revolver skills. The gunsmithing skill, I believe, governs probably two things. Let me check. So rifle is accuracy. Okay, so the rifle firearm and the revolver firearm, those you can increase by hitting things and by repairing the firearms. The gunsmithing skill, I believe you use it to create bullets. So if you remember, I think even when, way back when you probably played,
I would do anything for
there
a drink
were
right now.
car batteries you could pick up. They had, 15 kilograms of weight and were completely useless. I'm probably going too far away for firewood. But you can use them, I think, to harvest lead. And you can use the lead to make bullets, and you can use the bullets and other things and spent shells to make new revolver and rifle cartridges. But I've gone on such a tangent, I forgot to finish the previous point. The previous point was, once you finish reading one of these
I
books,
didn't need to eat soon.
you can't use it for anything other than firewood. So I'm going to toss this thing on the fire, and it should give us about 30 minutes of burn time. Here we go, sticks. Love sticks.
Thank goodness.
And you can also
another
accidentally
night.
throw it on... Yeah, right? You wouldn't even know. We got book talks. Um, but you can also throw the book on the fire before you finished reading it, which is kind of a waste. So I always want to make sure it shows up in this tool tab in the inventory if you can still read it. But because I can't read it, it doesn't show up, so I'm perfectly fine with putting it in the fire. Which is an entire lengthy detour to the third point. That third point being the gunsmithing skill, which lets you, as far as I can tell, that's a deer noise. Deer noises are safe noises. Lets you make bullets, and to make bullets, you need to find some kind of a gunsmithing table. And in all of my exploring in this survival playthrough, I have yet to find a single gunsmithing table. So I don't know if the gunsmithing skill is just a trap or bait, but as far as I can tell, yeah, 2019 must have been around the time that I was playing the first time as well. Now let's see, did we burn our food? Not quite yet.
To carry.
Okay, so let's continue cooking. But that's a long way to say I don't actually know if the gunsmithing skill is properly implemented, even though it says it's there. We can toss this guy. But apparently, and it shows you a whole lot of different things that you can possibly. Yeah, well, it's complicated in two ways. Let me finish the inventory situation. It shows you all these things you can sort inventory now as well. All these things that you can make. So can of gunpowder, for example, stump remover, sulfur, charcoal. The ammunition workbench is what I haven't found. Bullet, ammunition workbench, which I haven't found. Scrap lead you can get from harvesting those extremely heavy car batteries. And I think it's really just bullets, cartridges, again, ammunition workbench, which I haven't found, that you would use the gunsmithing for. But they add, so the rifle, I'm almost certain was initially in the game. They added a revolver. So the rifle is pretty decent for like longish range things. And you're right, it kind of trivialized hunting. And you could like blast wolves and stuff from way far away. The revolver is a little bit more complicated because it's a little bit harder to aim at range. It's probably fine if you get good enough to do it that way. But it's got 6 rounds. You can fire in much more rapid fire than the bolt-action rifle. So it's a little bit better. Let's eat this. It's a little bit better for some close combat wolf fighting. So that's where its niche kind of is. The downside being you can actually move while you're aiming down sights with a rifle. If you're aiming down sights with a revolver, you can't move at all. So it's much more of a stand and deliver kind of a thing. So as far as I know, yeah, I know, right? I think you can only find the ammunition workbench. If you can build it, I think it would show up on this blueprint thing. And these are sorted alphabetically. Right, this is for the... so we got a workbench here. The ammunition workbench would be up top. Another thing, I've not found a workbench vise. And let's see, can we make one? And I don't think you can make it. So I haven't found what will allow me to unlock basically anything. Also haven't found woodworking tools. Haven't really found anything that would let me make anything on this blueprints page. So that's not been useful for me. And, also haven't really found anything on the gunpowder gunsmithing path. But back when this is another detour from back in my day. So, I would have expected that the way you would make an ammunition workbench is that you would upgrade a normal workbench. But when you select a normal workbench, and I'll show you this if I find one on the way. When you select a normal workbench, it gives you 2 options. One is break down. So like if you have a hacksaw, you can cut it apart to get some scrap metal out of it. And the only other option is to use it as a workbench, and there's no upgrade option that I've seen. I feel like I was going to say something, but there's a detour. Right, there was a detour. So this region, the Bleak Inlet, I don't think was there when we were playing the first time. I heard noise. What was that noise? Okay, I think it was just a flag. But now there's a world map. I believe when we initially played, the only two regions that were in the game that I knew of anyway were the Coastal Highway. That's the that region with the really big frozen kind of bay area with the islands on it, and the Desolation Point, which is another coastal region with the lighthouse. But now there's all these, and in this current run through, I initially spawned up in Hushed River Valley, so that was a new place for me. Almost froze to death. No, let me back that up. This mountain town is, I think it was also in the game. That's the Milton town. I don't remember if that was in the game or not. But it's like the first place you'll go in the campaign. It's in episode 1. So I sprinted down to the mountain town, and I was familiar with that region because I had done episode 1 before in the campaign. And then just kind of had to make my way over in this direction. Spent a long time between Coastal Highway and Desolation Point, basically just getting some bases set up. And I've just finished exploring. I doubled back and explored all of these western regions: Broken Railroad, Forlorn Muskeg, Mystery Lake, Mountain Town, Hushed River Valley, and hoovered up all of the items and equipment that I wanted out of them. So now I'm basically, I dumped all that stuff back at the Coastal Highway. Now I'm checking out the Bleak Inlet, see what's new down here. When I'm finished with that, I'm going to head north and check up these new areas in the like Pleasant River Valley, Timberwolf Mountain, Ash Canyon. Black Rock is in the campaign, so I've been there before. Pleasant Valley also in the campaign, but Ash Canyon and Timberwolf Mountain I've never seen. So eventually I'll make my way up there. So an hour, I think an hour we can probably do 1.5 liters of water. Yeah. 32 times 2, that's an hour and 4. We can probably finish this up with the, what's the word I'm looking for? With the embers. But yeah, they've added a lot in the 10 years they've been developing this thing. They've added quite a bit. Okay, let's eat some food. Drink some water. And then we can head back down to that radio tower. Okay, nom nom nom, slurp slurp slurp. 31 minutes. Should be, as long as this wind doesn't pick up in the wrong direction, that should cook just fine. Okay, put all the extras in the supply bin. Which aspect? Was it just kind of a frustrating game loop? Let's keep a couple of these for food purposes. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting game loop. Let's see. Speed this up. And take and take. That's going to burn down. Actually, it's almost noon. Let's see, how are we on food here? Probably alright. Don't need all this water. Probably need about that much. Let's... Well, I mean, I'm not going to pretend like I'm good at this game. I'm just very risk averse, and also this is not the maximum difficulty. I'm too much of a noob for that. You probably need to have been playing this game and understand and know all these regions much better than I do to do well on the high difficulty. But for now, let's pop a squat and nap for a couple of hours. Get the stamina, get the fatigue meter a little bit higher. Excellent. So not only should that stuff down there have cooked, the fire should have burned out, which will let us loot some charcoal off of it. Charcoal is the thing they added that lets you... I don't remember if there was a map way back when. But charcoal is the thing, and I don't think this was there before. It lets you uncover, new regions of the map, but it's an expendable resource. You have to use one charcoal every time you reveal one of these circles from the fog of war. And ideally, you'll be in some place with a pretty good vantage point, because if your sightlines are blocked by things like these rock cliffs, the charcoal surveying will also be blocked by them. Yeah. Yeah, there are a few people playing on the, I think the high difficulty is called Interloper. Interloper as in, you don't belong here. So if you're interested in that, and you want to see some people doing it hardcore, there are definitely people streaming that. Okay, let's head down this way and see if there is a way to a new region. Should be. And with any luck... Okay, that's a deer. With any luck, if there's anything dangerous, I'm talking about dangerous in an awoo kind of way, we'll be able to hear it before it sees us. Let's check the glove box. Got any good snacks? Yeah, so these hoods sometimes, yeah, so car battery, for example, 15 kilograms, super heavy, but as far as I know, it's the only source of lead in case you ever get around to making bullets with it. But I don't know where you would go to make bullets. It's completely useless to me. Notebook mag, yeah. Yeah, I think you're right about that. Yeah, that was empty. Yeah, I also had a recollection that you started out with the map kind of mostly revealed, or the reveal was automatic, something like that. But now it's definitely manual. Okay. One thing that they small wrinkle is there are some regions on each map that count as quote-unquote vistas. And if you do charcoal scouting on a vista, okay, so like all of this over here to the right, I suspect all of this is traversable if we can figure out how to get over there. And I know for sure that all of this on the left is traversable because there's a climbing rope by that fire watch tower that leads down there. Question is there a way over to the right here? And because that's a little hunting blind, I strongly suspect the answer is yes. Because what kind of developer would take the time to put something over there if you can't go to it? If I had known that there was an enterable building here, I should have come over here during the Aurora to see if there's anything cool inside. In particular, laptops and computers. Because, like a good collectathon, this is basically Banjo-Kazooie, there's a list of, here, all of the things you've found. And for example, these buffer memories, they're little emails or messages that are active that you can read on the computers that are when they're active during an Aurora, if the computer has it. Like for example, the computer up at the watchtower, which I guess must be behind that tree, that didn't have one. I was disappointed. So this got added, the burdock root. It's like you can use it as, you cook it in a tea as an antiseptic, I think. Yeah, antibiotic tea. It's not antiseptic, it's like if you get food poisoning or something, you can drink that instead of popping some antibiotic pills. Okay, is there anything? I think I just checked over here and there's nothing. So let's take a peek inside. See if we've got any good loot. I'd love to see a medical locker. With one bandage, that was, I mean, not great. Not the worst, but not great. Oh, there was a computer. Boo, I should have come over. Well, things are, I guess, just as Shell casings. The only reason there would be a shell casing is you can't shoot an empty casing is to repack it with some gunpowder. Ooh, I did not need to pick that up because it's ruined and I can't... Well, I don't know if you can eat it. I'm not going to try. Let's see. What is... communication report. Handwritten copy. Probably another computer. 2 computers. I'm so disappointed. Request extraction. Wolves everywhere. Chased out of the muskeg to the coast. All predator deterrents failed. No food left. Going to check out the worksite down below Bell Tower. No, not Bell Tower. Down below Tower 12 for supplies. Use code 154 to bypass security doors. Hurry. Okay, this is interesting. Sector 12, tower failure, remote service for automated relay, extreme predator threat. Partner specialist 81926. Now, work site down below Tower 12. I'm hoping this is Tower 12. Actually, I think it said on the map. I just wasn't paying attention. Or not on the map, but on the heads up, that this was the Tower 12 relay station. But work site below Tower 12 with a code 154. Now, security doors, those are going to need power to turn on. And a security code is very suggestive that something will be accessible, but only during the aurora.
Use this.
Duck boots. All this stuff I can take back over. So many boots. I can take back over to the lookout tower. But I kind of want to chill in this area until there's another aurora. Well, first let's find a way down there. Because that could be something interesting. Let's see. Anything interesting over here? No. Okay, nothing other than trap. Newsprint roll. Don't even need that. Okay, so I think we've looted this place fully. Yeah, 2 computers. This could have been 2 buffer memories. Storm lantern. Could be useful. I usually don't use it. But if we go into a cave, it's nice to know where one is. Because they're good for a cave. Because they're a light source that you can use that only needs lantern fuel. It doesn't need matches to light. Whereas everything else, like a torch, would need lantern fuel. Can you use it chilling? And what's up fuel? I'm not entirely sure if those were one connected idea or 2 separate questions. But I don't think, at least from what I remember, the lantern doesn't really warm you up at all. But you can... yeah. But you can... So you can get fuel. 1, you can pick it up in jerry cans and things like that. But 2, if you fish for fish and you cook the fish, cooking the fish will give you some lantern fuel. I guess you'd use the fish oil. But was there a way down? I don't... While it's daytime, let's double check, make sure I didn't miss a way down over here. Because it said the work site underneath the tower. So there's got to be a way down there, right? But what is the way down? I'm hoping the way down isn't only down that rope over by the watchtower. But given how steep this entire area is,
I can drop any of this gear.
I'm worried that it might be. I'm almost certain that it is now, which is unfortunate. I don't like going up and down the mountaineering ropes. Actually, that might be a new thing. Basically, you can... Mountaineering rope is a 5-kilogram thing. You can lug it around, and there are certain rocks that you can tie them on, and it will let you basically traverse up and down a cliff that you otherwise couldn't. A lot of the time, in my experience, in the western regions, any of the rocks that could have a mountaineering rope tied on them would have already had the mountaineering rope there. Here. This particular one that's over by the watchtower didn't have its rope tied, but there was a rope in the watchtower extremely conveniently. but I don't like going up and down them because it is extremely fatigue costly. Well, that's one reason. And the second reason is you can't climb them up or down unless you are under your maximum comfortable weight carrying limit. Okay, that's a deer noise. And I like to be over the weight limit because I like to carry a bunch of things. And so if the only way to where you're going next is past one of these ropes, you either have to go up and down and ferry things back and forth, which is time and fatigue time and fatigue costly because of how much fatigue it takes to go particularly up the rope, or you have to maintain a low enough carry weight that you can just go up or down the rope immediately and then only have to go the one trip. Okay, let's head up. Let's drop what we can drop. Make sure we've got enough food and water to stay down there for a while, because these climbing bits are definitely a point of friction in that sense. Okay, what did I pick up? I picked up a lot of boots that I definitely didn't need to pick up because I've already got good deer boots. So these things are really only good for breaking down. Pick up in case I need some cured leather. Okay, food and water wise. Well, let's get a little bit more food and a little bit more water, because we can eat the stuff while we're down there and it's not going to really cost much in terms of the return trip. But we want to put down the lantern, because the lantern is a little bit heavy. Actually, let me think. Hey, don't judge me. I actually think. So here's my thought. I see there's the mountain rope. My thought is that there's nothing that I can really think of wanting to use the lantern for up here. But if there's a cave or something that we can enter below, I'm gonna want the lantern for that. But I think, let's see. We are still kind of heavy. What did we pick up that we can drop? We can drop all these cans. Let's put those below. An empty can is really only good for boiling water. So we can put that by the fire. Although we do have enough cooking pots that's not going to be a concern. Let's see, did we pick up anything else? Picked you up. We can drop the pelts and the guts. And then I think maybe we just head down. It's not so late in the day that we won't be able to find some place to take a nap. An overnight nap. Okay. Drop this in the pile of dead things. Just try not to think about the smell. Okay, we're a decent amount of sticks. A bunch of broken arrows. We can break those down when we get down. Charcoal, we can do something like with that when we get down. We can drop the sewing kits. But where to drop them? Let's just put everything in the container at the bottom. Keep everything nice and compact, instead of having to run around trying to find what container did I put things in. Alright, open, and sewing kits are here. You can also use fishing tackle as an impromptu sewing kit. Shell casings are light enough that I don't care to drop them. Okay. And I think there's drop this guy. I think there's enough disposable things that if we really need to, we can drop things on the way back. So let's head down. And hop. And hop. Every time he falls the tiniest amount, it sounds like he's just been tackled to the ground. Okay, looking good. The one thing you need to be careful about, well, I'm sure there's more than one thing, but the current thing that I'm most concerned about, especially on these longer climbs, is I think the less fatigue you have in your fatigue bar, the slower you climb. Like, this is fine, but kind of a little rest bit. I think we can go on this ledge if we needed to. But we should be able to go down in one shot. With that said, this is a pretty... so my suspicion, I've never run into this scenario, my suspicion is that if you run out of fatigue, and you see on the bottom right there's a kind of little going down grip meter, I suspect if you let that grip meter go down, you either very rapidly start taking like health damage, or you might just fall outright. I've never had the displeasure of experiencing or having to test that. But yeah, it can be dangerous. If you run out of fatigue, you will just start taking a lot of damage. And it's pretty fatigue intensive. Okay, looking clear. Let's get up over to this little high zone and then pop a charcoal. Ah, no. So there is kind of a 3 strikes and you're out thing. That it's optional. You can play at 1 life, but there's a little bit of jank in the game still. For example, I've seen people talk about, you know, they hop off of a 2-foot drop and it immediately kills them from fall damage, or they get stuck in the geometry and it like warps them to death. So they did add a sort of 3 strikes thing. If you die, for whatever reason, let's see, we want the escape menu. You see these 3 little campfires. These are like your 3 lives. And as you can tell, I've got 1 campfire down. I wasn't sure what these were initially, but I figured it out because in this ravine zone, there's a very steep ravine over which a broken, or like partially broken, railroad bridge travels. And I tried to traverse across that bridge in the pitch dark in game, but also like almost noon IRL. And so between the glare and the darkness, I couldn't see anything. And I may have fallen in between the slats in the rail bridge. And perhaps the less said about that, the better. So, to answer the question, if you want to play it as 1 life, it could be 1 life. But there is a 3 strikes and you're out thing that they set up. You know, I wasn't expecting to see any kind of buildings down here. Yeah, it's so... kind of wish I could draw a little bit. Let me see. If you... and... if you are looking down the railroad bridge, so you've got like these 2, you know, iron steel tracks that you can walk down. On this broken part of the bridge, one of the sections of track is busted and there's a gap in it. If you keep walking on it, you will fall. And I was walking on that side of the bridge, and I remembered before I got there, I remembered that side is out. I can't walk past it without falling. So I wanted to cross over the wooden, you know, the wooden supports between the 2 iron bits to get to the other side and walk safely. But it turns out there are gaps that you can fall in between those iron bits of the bridge, and I fell straight down one. Because when I looked down to check to see if there was anything to fall down, I was expecting to see white for snow below me if it was fallable. But it turns out, even though I was looking at something that was dark, it was one of the bridge supports way below. It didn't end well. And I was quite surprised. Usually in this game, if you're going to die, you kind of see it coming. But there are a couple of situations, and falling is one of them, where it can just sneak up on you. Okay, let's get to this little hill up here and do a charcoal. Hopefully that will uncover this building. Let's see. All right, pick this guy up. And pop a charcoal here. All right, that's looking good. It did not quite get the... is there anything down there? No. Did not quite get the house that I wanted. But there are worse fates. Certainly worse fates. Let's do that. Pick up a stick, and let's see if there's anything nice in this house. We can actually, if this house is enterable, which it looks like it is. Okay, the door is not boarded up. Excellent. We can probably sleep here.
I wonder who owns this stuff.
Me now. Okay. Nice looking rustic little house here. See if there's anything worth hoovering up. Another storm lantern.
Being useful.
This is the downside of being prepared. Sometimes the game gives you more things, and so you didn't actually have to be prepared to begin with. This thing. I think I'm wearing one of these. Yes. How good is it? Let's see. So the Cowchan sweater is probably good for about, so at full health, probably about 2.5 Celsius warmth and 2 for windproofness. The fisherman sweater looks like it's only good for 2 Celsius and 1.5 wind. Yeah, it's a little bit heavier, but I think if we have the time and the equipment, basically going to take just a bunch of cloth. I think we'll try to fix that up. We'll fix that up and we'll wear it. Yep. This place is pretty empty.
Never would have thought to look here.
Okay. Yeah, I think the wetness reduces the amount of, the warmth it provides or the amount of wind chill. It's not been a huge issue for me so far. But at this point, I've actually got some pretty Gucci clothing. I've got 2 wolf coats at the same time. I've got all the deer stuff, all the rabbit stuff. Question mark? Let's see. Did we just... Interesting. That might have been a crash. Okay, so let me see here. Let's do this. Yes, we might have crashed a little bit on the game side. Let me see if I can get that back up and running. Might be a little bit jank, might not work. We'll find out. Okay. Oops. Do you?